The Adriatic doesn't need a filter. It's a sea that holds its breath, a vast expanse of sapphire and turquoise that has witnessed empires rise and fall along the Dalmatian coast. Out here off Croatia's coast, the water looks like liquid glass, blue on blue, hiding 1,000 stories beneath its shimmering surface. It's a place of profound beauty, but also of profound secrets. Every island, every hidden cove has a history written in salt and stone. And on the island of Sholta, a rugged jewel just a short ferry ride from the bustling city of Split, life moves at a different pace. With only about 1,500 permanent residents, it's a place where traditions hold fast and the land is as much a part of the community as the people. Here, there's a cove almost nobody visits, Poganica. The name itself feels ancient, whispered more than spoken. Locals treat it like a rumor, a place best left alone. For generations, they've shared whispers of pirates using its hidden cave to stash treasure, of sea monsters lurking in its depths, and of a darkness that swallows light and never gives it back. It's a place of caution, a geographical ghost story. The source of these legends is a submerged cave. Its mouth sits at about 9 meters down, a dark, unassuming arch in the rock face. It's just big enough to welcome you, to invite you into its mystery. The water is often crystal clear, the entrance seemingly straightforward. It's calm enough to promise you'll be fine, to lull you into a state of confident curiosity. And that's the trap. It's just deceptive enough to be deadly. In September 2002, this deceptive calm set the stage for a tragedy. A group of friends were anchored in the cove, enjoying the end of a perfect day on the Adriatic. Among them was a diver, let's call him MK, who, after a night of fun, decided the allure of the cave was too strong to resist. Around 9:15 p.m., under the dim glow of the sailboat's deck lights, he began his preparations. He clipped on a single 15-liter cylinder, a standard size for recreational diving, but critically insufficient for a deep, complex solo cave dive at night. He checked his dive computer, glanced at his pressure gauge, and followed his torch beam into Poganica's dark. He slipped into the black water alone. The entrance is a tight, 2-meter tunnel that immediately eats the ambient light. Within a few kicks, the world of the surface, the moon, the stars, it all vanishes. You are in the cave's world now. After the entrance tunnel, the cave opens slightly before presenting a critical choice. At a depth of 15 meters, the main passage splits. One branch continues horizontally, a relatively shallow exploration. The other drops away sharply, a vertical shaft known as the Deep Gallery, a black hole that plunges toward 57 meters. MK chose the drop. He angled his light downward and began his descent into the abyss. As he went deeper, the pressure mounted, and with it, another invisible danger: nitrogen narcosis. The rapture of the deep, it's called. It impairs judgment, slows reaction time, and can create a false sense of euphoria, or conversely, intense anxiety. At these depths, every decision is compromised. Here's what the cave doesn't tell you. Its walls and floor are lined with a fine, talc-like silt, settled over millennia. It's as delicate as dust on an ancient tomb. One careless fin kick, one accidental brush of a hand, and that powder blooms into a blinding brownout. The water transforms from clear to opaque in an instant. Suddenly, your own hands vanish. Your powerful flashlight, your only source of orientation, hits a blank wall of mud just inches from your face. Up, down, forward, back. They all stop meaning anything. You are suspended in a void of your own making. Panic is no longer a risk. It's a reflex. Time in a cave moves differently. Your air isn't just minutes, it's decisions. Every breath is a currency, and you're spending it fast. A trained cave diver follows the rule of thirds. Use 1/3 of your air to go in, 1/3 to come out, and keep 1/3 in reserve for emergencies. MK was alone, deep, and likely disoriented. That reserve was all he had. Do you turn back? But which way is back? Without a guideline to follow, a lifeline back to the entrance, you're just guessing. Do you think you'll recognize the route in zero visibility? Every rock feels the same. Every turn is a gamble. The narcosis clouds your thinking, the silt out steals your sight, and the ticking clock of your air supply screams in your ear. We don't know exactly what happened in those moments, but the evidence suggests MK pushed on, deeper into the trap. And with every meter, his margin for survival disappeared. By 10:30 p.m., more than an hour after he descended, his friends on the surface started to panic. The calm night was now filled with a dreadful silence. The single beam of light that had pierced the water was long gone. Two of his friends, also divers, geared up and dropped in to search. They entered the cave's mouth, their torch beams cutting nervously through the dark. But the maze, now likely clouded with disturbed silt, gave nothing back. They returned to the surface empty-handed, their fear now solidified. They did the math. At 11:41 p.m., based on his tank size, depth, and a panicked breathing rate, his air would have been done. The call was made to the authorities. As the sun rose over Sholta, the maritime police from Split launched a formal search and rescue operation. The mission was now grim. Hope was fading with the morning mist. Two highly trained police divers entered the cave. Their task was to locate MK and assess the situation. They were professionals, equipped for the risks, but Poganica makes no exceptions. Only one returned. In a horrifying turn of events, the cave had claimed another victim. The surviving officer surfaced in distress, having lost contact with his partner in the disorienting passages. The search for one missing diver was now a recovery mission for two. The lost officer was found later by a specialized recovery team, motionless at around 24 meters. The cave had turned a rescue into a catastrophe. Despite the immense risk and the loss of one of their own, the recovery team pressed on. They were now dealing with one of the most dangerous environments imaginable. They laid guidelines, staged extra air tanks, and moved with methodical precision. They kept going. Finally, at a depth of 54 meters, near the bottom of the deep gallery, they found MK. He was lying on the silty floor. He still had his gear on, but as the recovery divers' lights swept over the scene, they saw that the details looked terribly wrong. His regulator was out of his mouth, his mask was off, and protruding from his chest was a diving knife. What had been a tragic accident now looked like a crime scene, and investigators began treating it as one. The mystery of Poganica had just deepened. The sailboat was impounded. All of MK's equipment was seized for forensic analysis. His friends, potential witnesses to a homicide, were grounded on the island and subjected to intense questioning. Forensics combed through his dive computer. It logged dozens of past dives, with profiles deep enough to suggest he was experienced, certainly not a rookie. But none of the logged dives indicated any formal cave training. He was an open water diver, out of his element. An autopsy confirmed the visible evidence, a deep, penetrating wound to the chest. But it also found water in his lungs, a clear sign that he had died by drowning, meaning the injury occurred while he was still alive, still breathing. A toxicology report found his blood alcohol level was 0.8 g-kg, over the legal driving limit in Croatia. While not necessarily incapacitating on the surface, combined with the effects of nitrogen narcosis at depth, it would have severely amplified his confusion and impaired his judgment. Investigators chased every theory. Could it have been a planned underwater attack? A rival diver waiting in the dark? Unlikely, given the remote location and lack of motive. A murder on the surface with the body and gear staged in the cave? The evidence of drowning ruled that out. Could a sudden medical collapse have spiraled into this bizarre scene? Perhaps, but it didn't explain the knife. But no matter which path they explored, they kept coming back to the same brutal math. The darkness, the silt out, the narcosis, the depth, the dwindling air, and the overwhelming panic of being trapped. Imagine the scenario, lost in absolute blackness, 54 meters deep. Your air gauge is nearing empty. You know you don't have enough gas for a slow, safe ascent with the required decompression stops. A rapid ascent means certain death from decompression sickness. A slow death from suffocation is minutes away. In that confined blackness, the most chilling conclusion was also the least cinematic. After weighing all the evidence, the investigators ruled it a suicide. Not a premeditated act, but a final, desperate decision made in a moment of absolute terror, driven by the immediate fear of an agonizing, suffocating end in the dark. He chose a quicker death over the one the cave had planned for him. It's not the ending anyone wanted. It's a story with no villain except the unforgiving physics of the deep. And it cost another life, too. The police officer who went into the dark looking for answers and became part of the tragedy himself. Poganica Cave keeps its secrets, and sometimes the price of trying to uncover them is everything.